Philippines, our economy may be known as the worst of the worst, but when it comes to historical events, traditions, cultures, and most especially in antique houses, the Philippines is known to be one of the richest of them all. However, some heritage houses are being neglected due to financial instability and lack of awareness of their significance. And it is really devastating to see how a great history fades as the structure deteriorates. On today's journey, allow us to indulge you with one of the grandiose heritage house located at Santa Mesa, Manila. We proudly present to you, Finding the Spirit of Place of PUP Antique House.
The term itself, genius loci, which has gained widespread use in English and other languages, refers to the spirit or guardian god of a place in Latin. The idea that some areas of the globe are inhabited by gods or other spirits who must be pleased is both old and widely believed. This was a basic aspect of Roman religion. Genius loci is might as well manifested in the human ability to attach memories to a place, and those remain as an idea of what it is all about. It is likewise a concept made from history that defines the spirit of place that retains its character throughout the years. According to Norberg Schul's studies in the 1980s, which is evidently influenced by Heidegger's ideas about architecture, the place, the structure, and the person are integral components of human life in space, all relative to the concept of a place spirit that continues to exist throughout time. This study tackles the spirit of place of the Carriedo mansion, also known as the PUP Antique House, that is situated within the 10-hectare property of Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila. Not only the physical features of the house are reflective of its rich historic essence, but also it tells a living story of how it served once as home to the family of a former government executive or Gobernador General of Manila, a Spanish merchant, namely Francisco de Carriedo, who also marked history by being the first to initiate the country's first modern waterworks system. The spots and marks of deterioration in the PUP Antique House or Carriedo Mansion are clear historical evidence of its old age of construction that dates back to the Spanish colonization of the country in the 1800s. At present time, it is no longer open to scholarly ventures due to its current condition. This growing threat to heritage houses due to the lack of preservative measures and strategic plans from the government is not only manifested by the Carriedo Mansion, but also it extends even to the neighboring lands of Sampaloc, including Hidalgo Street in Quiapo, which is home to many Spanish colonial houses that suffer the same condition. The Carriedo Mansion was already fragmented due to the long span of time it stands on that area, which made it unfunctional. The researchers seek answer on whether the intangible cultural heritage, the understanding and preservation of the house remains or not. The hidden stories behind the old wooden doors, windows, and rusty roofing tiles of the mansion can tell so much about the Philippine history and cultural heritage when allowed to be restored, preserved, and reopened to the public. The research regarding the PUP Antique House or Carriedo Mansion aims to achieve the following goals and objectives. First is to identify what lies beyond the architectural elements of the heritage house that builds the notion of the spirit of place within the area of Carriedo Mansion. Second, to understand and assess the current perspective, experiences, and opinions of the community towards the historical PUP Antique House. And lastly, to inform the community, especially students of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, surrounding the heritage house vicinity regarding its origin and story.
Moving on to the next chapter, the review and related literature. Firstly, the background and the overview of the structure. So the location of the PUP Antique House is at Poresa, Santa Mesa, Manila. The Antique House is also known as the Carriedo Mansion. Looking back from the past, this serves as the Japanese garrison during the Second World War. In addition, the Antique Houses also serve as a residence of Carriedo y Peredo during 1700s. And he is also known the former Governor General of Maynila. So this place was given by the National Development Company by the year 1989 to the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila. However, the structure was declared as an advanced dilapidation stage last 2010. So until then, nobody is using this antique house. The architectural design of the PUP Antique House displayed the influences of Spanish colonial architecture, specifically the Spanish-Filipino architectural style called Bahay na Bato, and it is evident from the provided picture how the colonial era depicts the use of style in this structure, making it compatible in its natural environment, which is the tropical climate. So it is characterized by a concrete slab, columns supporting the second floor, wooden frames, large window openings, overhang, and tall ceiling, which are commonly seen on the Bahay na Bato. And it is also seen that the cabinet shells on the windows are still intact. However, these elements are already in poor condition. On the other hand, when it comes to the site planning, the PUP Antique House is located under the College of High-Tech of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Santa Mesa, situated adjacent to the main entrance of the site at the southwest part of the compound. So, the place can be visibly seen by the individuals who is passing by along the Pereza Street. So, this is exposed structure and it is quite hazardous for the users of the PUP High-Tech due to its poor structural integrity. So with that, they include a barricade to stop other people from entering the premises. Next is the space planning and the interrelationship. So the space planning of PUP Antique House follows the typical space programming of Bahay na Bato. It is a two-story structure where the first floor is made up with stones and concrete while the second floor is mainly composed of the wood joineries. So each room has its own natural ventilation system that enables the airflow to penetrate the deeper spaces of the house. And the ground floor level of the PUP Antique House is surrounded by an entry porch, and it includes spaces like a lobby waiting area, offices, and a memorabilia area. So the vertical axis is located near the entrance at the northern part of the plant, and this is accessible both indoors and outdoors. On the other hand, the second floor of the structure includes a large open space that serves as a multi-purpose hall, and it also has offices and communal restrooms. Next are the assessment and findings, conclusion, and recommendation. It is indeed devastating to know that the PUP Antique House is already declared in advanced dilapidation stage, given the fact that the condition of the Carriedo mansion is being neglected as the day passes. With that continuously happening, PUP Antique House structural integrity and the components are rendered unusable and left deteriorating. So when a structure is not being utilized, the structure through historical significance is fading, which is also can lead to the deterioration of past. As for the recommendation of this, adaptive reuse is the best solution for the case of PUP Antique House, as it will help reutilize the structure without diminishing its structure and historical significance and its architecture.
In Chapter 3, for the research design, the researchers use qualitative method to understand how people think and feel about the topic. They wanted to find out deep insights by listening to what the participants had to say, which was by focusing on the personal experiences and views to get a clearer picture and understanding of the structure. The researchers used a survey to collect information about the Carriedo mansion and how people feel about it. Open-ended questions are asked to get diverse and personal responses from different individuals connected to the mansion. The survey was conducted through online forms, emails, phone calls, and in-person interviews. The study utilized purposive sampling as its sampling technique. This means that the researchers chose specific participants based on their judgment and criteria to represent an entire population logically. Findings from this type of sampling can only be applied to selected group and not the entire population. The researchers selected 50 subjects, including students, professors, and alumni, who had stories and experiences related to the Carriedo mansion's emotional significance to the public. Figure 3 presents the data gathering method for understanding the spirit of the place of the PUP Antique House or Carriedo mansion. It includes investigating its historical and cultural background, conducting an architectural analysis, and surveying local respondents familiar with the structure. The gathered data was used to create a literature narrative summarizing the study's conclusions. The research questions are customized to capture the respondents' perspective, experiences, and opinions about the PUP Antique House. They consist of open-ended questions allowing respondents to share narratives. These narratives will then be translated into concept, construct, and themes for analysis. There are a total of 9 questions made and are the following. 1. On a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with the PUP Antique House? 2. What do you know about the PUP Antique House? 3. How often do you see and or visit the PUP Antique House? 4. Why do you see or visit the PUP Antique House? 5. What do you usually do when you see or visit the PUP Antique House? 6. What do you feel whenever you visit or see the PUP Antique House? 7. In your opinion, what is the significance of the PUP Antique House to you? 8. As someone who is familiar with the Carriedo mansion, what can you do to inform other individuals, especially PUP students, regarding the antique house? Lastly, can you share your personal experience with regards to the PUP Antique House? For our CCT analysis, we've chosen 3 respondents. One example is from a second-year student named Jemima Vidal. She says the house has become a landmark around the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. And this house holds a special place in the collective memory and identity of the university community. So for its theme, it is a place of familiarity. Another is Miss Jemima is hoping for the house to be redesigned as a museum. PUP Antique House demands care and attention to retain their beauty and functionality. And for its theme, it is a continuation of the past. Next is Miss Jemima is feeling indifferent because the house has become a hazardous due to poor management and conservation. So when a piece of architecture is not properly maintained, it becomes susceptible to various risks and hazards. So for its theme is risks of poor maintenance. Lastly, she thinks that it signifies the history of the Philippines and Spain. The home's architectural style symbolizes the shared history between Philippines and Spain. So for its theme is it's embracing its historical significance. The next respondent is a second-year student named Joan Calibuso. So Miss Joan knows that Don Carriedo owned this house. So Don Carriedo is well known as the owner of the PUP Antique House, making the theme a place of familiarity. Next is, as she only passes by it, she doesn't have much knowledge about the Carriedo house. So, public lack detailed information or understanding regarding the historical significance. Ownership or other significant details related to the house. So for its theme, limited awareness of the historical significance. Next is Miss Joanne was curious about the presence of a mansion that serves as a landmark within the PUP. So the mansion piques the people's interest, making the theme intriguing fascination towards the structure. Lastly, during her visit to the mansion for the laser exhibit, she discovered that it was in a deteriorated state and being utilized as a storage space for chairs and tables. So the house has reached a state where it urgently requires care and maintenance, making the theme urgent need for care and maintenance. And for the final respondent, another second-year student named John Wilson Almasa. John Wilson sees the antique house as he passes by the street when going to his university. So the antique house attracts people's eyes, making the theme, again, a place of familiarity. Next is for him, the antique house helps in understanding our human potential in terms of literature, music, or painting. So the house became a source of realization, making the theme architecture linking to connection and heritage. Lastly, he feels connection to the past that no one will ever experience again. So the mansion is a gateway from the past, making the theme a glimpse of history.
A translation for the concept construct theme was done in the form of a literary narrative piece as per the interpretation and presentation of the data. It is entitled A Search for Carriedo Mansion's Spirit of Place for What It Truly Is and for What It Became. The researchers summarized the resulting themes from the CCT and arrived at 6 major points of the Carriedo Mansion's spirit of place that evolved throughout a historic timeline. First, memory archive, and then a glimpse of history, intriguing elegance of a familiar place, an emotional encounter, embracing its historical significance, and a continuation of the past. The initial part tells about the house representing a memory archive for the community, especially the man whose point of view is where the narrative runs through. An aged citizen who happened to live nearby the Carriedo mansion and eventually had a strong link to this place that existed even before he experienced the major moments of his life. He mentioned a brief historical context of the house and a hearsay of other people thinking that the area is filled with ghosts or an enigmatic aura. He knew about the Carriedo mansion, showing a glimpse of history to the community by just standing on its foundation and showing off its facade features to people who passed by Perez Street. Carriedo mansion deemed as an insignia and portrayal of the wealth of the family of a former Gobernador General of Manila. Its spirit of place spindles around the idea of making a structure feel like it is a home, a place for rest, family, and bonding. Further reflecting on his encounters, he relates the house to the intriguing elegance of a familiar place. It continued with different perspectives from individuals who encountered the Carriedo mansion. Some saw it as a symbol of unity and resilience, while others felt regret and sorrow, witnessing its decay. There emerged an emotional encounter. Despite its dilapidated state, the mansion held a special place in the hearts of many, igniting a desire to preserve its historical value. It then shifted to its real-time encounter. An iconic symbol for embracing its historical significance, all happened under an acacia tree near the Carriedo mansion. An elder woman, Aling Eli, shared stories of its past with her granddaughter, named Yumi. This emotional connection to history left a profound impact on the young girl and those around her, emphasizing the importance of passing down knowledge and heritage to future generations. The story concluded with a call to the younger generations for a continuation of the past, with the means of embracing their heritage and continuing the flow of history like an endless waterworks system. The narrative served as a reminder that preserving historical sites, such as the Carriedo mansion, is vital in understanding and appreciating rich tapestry of our shared history.
Chapter 5 of this research study discusses the findings and analysis of the antique house, a historically significant landmark in PUP. The mansion was once the residence of a wealthy family and a prominent political figure, and its eerie aura evokes a sense of the past and the importance of preserving cultural heritage. Despite its neglected state, the antique house continues to attract interest and curiosity from passersby and people in the vicinity. Efforts to preserve became a collective responsibility to safeguard its historical relevance and educational significance. The house symbolizes PUP's identity and fosters meaningful connections through its rich history and architectural heritage. The analysis highlights the importance of preserving the antique house.
The research paper has explored the captivating narrative that revolves around the Carriedo mansion, an architectural treasure with profound historical and cultural significance. Through personal accounts and encounters, it is observed how the mansion's grandeur has weathered with time, leading to a gradual erosion of historical awareness and neglect. Following these findings, the narrative surrounding the Carriedo mansion serves as a poignant reminder of the significance of cultural heritage and the responsibility borne by the community to preserve and cherish their shared past. The community holds the duty to bridge the gap between the past and the present, passing on knowledge and instilling a sense of stewardship in the younger generations. Consequently, the rich tapestry of history can remain vibrant and relevant, continuing to inspire and shape the collective identity for years to come.
In Chapter 7, the research provides recommendations to preserve the spirit of the Carriedo mansion. Urgent and comprehensive action is suggested, along with sustainable preservation practices and adaptive reuse. Engaging the local community through awareness campaigns is proposed, as well as promoting integrational storytelling. Further research, governmental support, and long-term planning are highlighted to ensure the mansion's continued cultural significance and inspiration for future generations.
The literary narrative stated the metaphoric passage where the attic house feels like it is silently screaming to get fixed or to revive its own spirit of place. That is what is happening on the Carriedo mansion right now. If no one will ever do anything, nothing will ever happen to this place. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Hoping that you guys learned something from our today's discussion. Again, we are the Group 2 of BS Archi 25 and 24 proudly presents to you Finding the Spirit of Place of the PUP Antique House.